The Ministry of Finance has announced the suspension of all debt service payments under certain categories of the country's external debt component. The move, according to government, is an interim emergency measure pending further agreements with the relevant creditors.
A statement issued by the Ministry of Finance noted the decision is pending an orderly restructuring of the affected debt obligations. It explained that the suspension would include payments on Ghana's Eurobonds, Ghana's commercial term loans, and a large portion of Ghana's bilateral debts. The statement says government also evaluating certain specific debts related to projects with highest socio-economic impacts for Ghana, which may have to be excluded. This suspension is an interim emergency measures pending future agreement with all relevant creditors, it added. The Finance Ministry, however, added that government is key on holding engagements with the external creditors in order to undertake a transparent, fair and comprehensive debt restructuring exercise in line with international best practices. It further pointed out that the Ministry of Finance would hold an investor presentation at the date that will be announced in due course.
Joining me via phone now is economist Courage Boti. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Boti. What does it mean for government to suspend debt service payments?
Well, good afternoon to your listeners. All government is trying to say is that for all the holders of the debts that have been described for an undefined period, they will not be paying interest, or if principals fall due, they will not be doing so until they conclude negotiations on debt restructuring, external debt restructuring. So if you are expecting interest payment maybe in the next few days or not effective today, do not expect it again. If your bond is falling due or maturing maybe in the next day or two, or sometime in the future that is not determined yet, do not expect government to honor the obligation as things stand until they complete debt restructuring.
And what will be its impact on the economy, Mr. Boti?
It's a difficult one. What this practically means is that we have defaulted, really, because if you look at the conditions, and especially the default conditions for any bondholder or in any bond prospectus, really, and especially for government organized Euro bonds, I mean, not honoring your interest obligation or varying any terms of the contract is actually tantamount to default, and that is what that means. What it means is that if investors are taking too much burn from holding your bonds, your future appearances on that market to access credit to finance your development aspirations could be challenging. The Ministry of Finance is looking at a hiatus of about 2 years from the Eurobond market. But if these things being said are carried through the way they are being put forth, it could easily extend more than the 3 years we are looking for to access any form of funding from the external market.
And will this restore investor confidence?
Definitely, and that is the point I'm trying to make, because then investors' confidence will be dented significantly. You realize that in the periods where things were really good, Ghana was among that select few of nations that foreign investors were actually, in quote, twerking for when it comes to Eurobond issuances and all of that. And it appeared that that era is over with their debt challenges and all of that. And so if they are going to lose significantly on their holdings and all of that, then that your next offer will attract so much demand, really, and so it would definitely dent investor confidence. I must say that we are all waiting for the details of what they are saying in that press conference that will be announced, and of course, ultimately the proposal for debt restructuring for the external sector, really, and so we will all wait for that for detail. Hopefully, it doesn't drag so that we make actual interest payments. But as things stand, if any interest fall due today, government will not be able to pay, and that is default.
Right. Courage Boti is an economist. Thank you very much indeed for your time.